Hi, everybody. Welcome to the very first live of Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle. I'm out here at the lake and I decided to shoot this live outside and talk a little bit about my story. One of the things that I've learned from watching other people's lives is to not say anything too crazy in the first few minutes of your live. I got that from Coach Mean Reen. She said, the YouTube algorithm looks out for things that you say in the first few minutes of your live. And because I've never been on a live before, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing or if anybody will ever even watch. What I did do is I told one or two people that I was going to go live. And so I am just going to keep talking because that's what Aslan Original told me to do. She said, just get on here and just start talking. So let's talk about how I became FIRE with Dr. Ninja Turtle. FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. That is a movement that I joined about 15 years ago when I was demoted at work. Because what that did when I was demoted at work is it forced me to live on less income. I needed to keep my one rental property that I had, and I needed to keep my car payment up and my motorcycle payment up, so I needed to change my finances. And that's when I found the FIRE movement. And what I started doing was the first thing I did when they announced that we are going to have potential layoffs and demotions in the near future. That day, I went back to my desk and I started updating my resume. And I started looking for side hustles. I started looking for a second job. I had just finished my second master's degree. And so I had a master's of science in technology management and I had an MBA. And so I went back to the college where I worked and I said to one of my old teachers, I said, do you have any openings for a teaching assistant? And this prior teacher, where I got an A in their class, they said, we don't have teaching assistants in our class. However, I know of the MBA program at this college that does have teaching assistants. And I do remember having teaching assistants when I was getting my MBA at this school. So I went back. It wasn't me. Okay, let's be honest. It wasn't me. My professor that I gave my resume to, he sent it over to the professor who was in charge of the MBA program. And he contacted me and he hired me as a teaching assistant. Now, I did not know that a teaching assistant had to have a 4.0 GPA. I got a 4.0 GPA because I had heard other people get a 4.0 GPA. And because I had failed at going to college so many times in my past, I wanted to do well in college this time. And what I did was I got a 4.0 GPA for my bachelor's degree, for my first master's degree, for my second master's degree, and for my PhD. The only one I did not get a 4.0 GPA for was my associate's degree. And after that, I got real serious. So what I'm saying is, when I found the FIRE movement, I went out and I got this second job as a teaching assistant, and I'm still at that same college today, almost 15 years later. So I stayed at that job as a teaching assistant all through getting my PhD. And then once I got my PhD, I applied for an adjunct teaching position, and they started me out higher than your very beginning adjunct teacher because I was a teaching assistant for them for those 5 years while I was going to college to get my PhD. So that's how I came up with the name FIRE, because I believe in financial independence, retire early. My name Ninja Turtle, as you've seen in a recent short that I just did with my puppy on the motorcycle, is I was in the Buffalo Soldier Motorcycle Club, and we ride around the country doing charity. And that is my thing, is community service. So when I joined the Buffalo Soldiers, someone in the club Jimmy named me Ninja Turtle. And so I took that on and I went out and I designed a Ninja Turtle who had not only had a diploma in his hand, but he also was standing on a stack of textbooks. And so that is the emblem that you'll see on my motorcycle vest and on my motorcycle. So that was designed that way. That Ninja Turtle also has a doctoral cap because when I joined the Buffalo Soldiers, I was getting my PhD. So I was going for my doctorate degree. So the first covers on my motorcycle were Ninja Turtle. After I graduated with my PhD, I had the saddlebag covers repainted and it says Dr. Ninja Turtle. And so that's one of those things about getting a PhD is that in the beginning, when you first get one, you want everyone to call you doctor. And that's what I did. When I first got it, I want everybody to call me doctor. Now, I don't care. You know, it's been some years and you sort of lose that over the years where it's not that big of a deal. Most of the places I go, everybody just calls me by my first name. My motorcycle friends that I ride with now, because I'm no longer in the Buffalo Soldiers, but my motorcycle friends that I ride with now, they just call me Turtle. And that's fine. I'm retired. I ride on sunny days. I no longer ride like I did with the Buffalo Soldiers, through rain, through snow. I rode through all of these things when I was younger because I was trying to be macho. And so that's how I got the name and came up with this name for my channel, Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle, because my channel is about helping people learn financial literacy. I did not know financial literacy until I started watching the FIRE movement. I have struggled my whole life with no money, low money, paycheck to paycheck, and until I took control of my finances when I was demoted, that's when I started building wealth. Yes, I'm financially free today, but it did not come until I had taken years and years of learning, and this is YouTube University, learning different things on YouTube of how to manage my finances. Everything from paying off debt to estate planning. I have learned everything on YouTube University. I also studied for my PhD employee ownership, where the owners of the business did not have employees, but everyone who owned the business was a worker in the business. And so for that reason, I believe in business ownership. I want to see all of my students who I teach today become business owners. I teach them to look 5 or 10 years into the future as a business owner looks, not as a manager who looks 6 months into the future. And so I've been on here for 8 minutes. I don't have anybody watching yet, which is fine because this is my very first YouTube Live. And so someday I'm gonna keep doing these YouTube Lives and just keep talking. And someday I'll actually have viewers come on to my YouTube Live. I'll also go back and watch this YouTube Live and see all the mistakes that I made on this YouTube Live. But I just wanted to have the lake in the background to make me feel a little more comfortable and hopefully have some boats going, but we're gonna have rain tomorrow. So we won't have too many boats out there behind me today. And I was just editing my video that comes out today. So that will post while I'm out here doing this live. And so I'm going to end it for now because I have been on this live for 9 minutes. No one's come in, and that's fine because this is my very first YouTube Live to say thank you for 516 subscribers. When I started this YouTube channel, I didn't have any subscribers. I had 1 or 2 friends, almost no family subscribing to my YouTube channel. And I understand that my YouTube channel is about retirement, it's about financial literacy, and that's what's important to me, that everyone take personal finance in their own personal way. One of the things I made a conscious decision that my YouTube channel is all about helping the community, and therefore all of the proceeds from my YouTube channel are going to be going to charity to help the homeless because I used to be homeless. And no, I'm not homeless anymore. Yes, I am financially free, but I never want to forget where I came from. And so I do not need the money from YouTube. So I started this as a passion project, as a hobby in retirement to help other people. One of the things that's happened in here was I watched a woman on YouTube talk about helping the women in her town with their finances every month. And that gave me the idea, as again, I learned everything from YouTube. That gave me the idea to help people in my community. And so I started a monthly financial literacy. It's not a class, it's more of a workshop at my local library. And I went to the library and I said, can I use your meeting room? And the local library thought it was such a good idea that they give me the meeting room for free once a month. And so these are the things that I do in retirement as a YouTuber who is financially free. I don't want to come on here and say, oh, I need your money or I need you to send me a super chat. None of those things will ever happen on my channel. But what will happen is my channel will grow as it's grown through this Are You Locked In movement that I recently joined. So yes, my channel will grow. I am watching a lot of other YouTubers that I've never heard of before that I've only found in the past couple of weeks. So that's what's happening on my YouTube channel. I'm going to be in the Are You Locked In movement. My channel is growing and I am going to be supporting other YouTubers. I have a list, and had I known that I wouldn't be able to go and see my list while recording this live, I would have printed out the list. So the next time I go live, I am going to talk about my favorite YouTube channels, which I've started building this list because I have so many new YouTube channels that I watch. I am going to talk about the YouTube channels that I personally follow, that I like. A lot of them are personal finance. A lot of them are people in retirement living on a moderate to low income, because that's what I'm doing. I'm in retirement. You don't need millions of dollars to retire. I retired on only $350,000. You just don't need that. You have to be creative with your finances and, like me, be very frugal, but you do not need to spend a lot of money. So one of the things that you won't see on my channel is, here's how I spend a lot of money. I just don't do that. So I am going to end this live and talk to you all soon.